Platform 63 wasn't supposed to be exciting. It was a repair hub on the quiet edge of the Caldari trade route, famous only for overpriced docking fees and terrible cafeteria food. For most crews, it was the place you stopped when you had no other choice. For Captain Maya Reeves and her cargo ship Starlance, it was a miracle they even made it there alive. Their hull plating was scorched, their engines rattled like dying beasts, and their shields were one short circuit away from exploding. After a brutal ambush by pirate raiders, all they wanted was a safe dock, a drink of water, and maybe 5 hours of sleep before inspections. Maya walked down the disembark ramp first, broad-shouldered, grease-smudged, and wearing the same old jacket she'd had since her military contractor days. Her crew followed. Hank, a mountain disguised as a mechanic. Marcus, who fought like he'd invented momentum. Jessa, the quiet sharpshooter. And Taro, their pilot, who was still visibly vibrating from the last emergency landing. The station's atmosphere smelled like recycled citrus and burnt coolant, comforting in a weird way. Finally, Taro muttered, "Solid ground. Don't get attached," Maya replied. "We're leaving as soon as they patch our girl." But something was wrong. Dock workers were hurrying, glancing over their shoulders. Security officers whispered urgently into comm units. At the far end of the platform, station shutters trembled as a heavy vessel locked onto a docking clamp. Hank grunted, Cap, that ship looks familiar." It did. Too familiar. A jagged silhouette with armored ridges like exposed bone. A crimson insignia painted along the hull in violent strokes. The kind of ship that didn't arrive peacefully. "The Rakthians," Maya whispered. "They followed us." The air thickened. Dozens of passengers retreated indoors, tugging families along as they hurried to safety. Maya's crew instinctively formed up around her, not in any formal way, just the natural positioning of people who had survived too many close calls together. "Maybe they're just here for fuel," Taro offered weakly. The docking clamp slammed closed with a metallic jolt that shook dust from the overhead support beams. Marcus exhaled. "Yeah, and maybe I'm a polite ballerina." The station alarms didn't activate. That was the part that truly concerned Maya. If station security wasn't reacting, it meant someone had already paid them not to. The Rakthian ship's gangway extended with a hiss of steam, and 30 armored predators began marching out. Maya cracked her knuckles. "Crew," she said calmly, "we're not done yet. Picture this. A battered freighter drifting into Platform 63, its hull scorched, plates missing, engines coughing like they're begging for mercy. The Astra Vantage looks like it survived a grinder, and honestly, it almost didn't. Captain Maya Reeves and her crew barely escaped a pirate ambush on the fringe routes. They're limping toward the station, hoping for repairs, a hot meal, and maybe 6 uninterrupted hours of sleep. But the galaxy has other plans. The moment they transmit their docking request, the station's comms officer warns them. Multiple hostile signatures inbound. Looks Rakthian. Of course it's Rakthian, because when your day goes bad, the universe likes to speedrun the chaos. The Rakthians, a species built like armored tanks with claws, have tracked the Astra Vantage all the way to the station. They want salvage, blood, or both. Normally, a Rakthian boarding party is a death sentence. Entire garrisons fold under their brute force raids. But today they've cornered the wrong humans. Because Maya and her crew aren't just cargo haulers. They're retired military contractors who got tired of war but never forgot how to win one. They fought things bigger, meaner, and faster than Rakthians, and survived. Below the hull plates and grease stains, they're still predators. When the raiders breached the observation deck, 40 armored warriors stomping in formation. The tension in the room snaps like a cable under strain. The 5 humans stand there unarmored, outnumbered, and seemingly outmatched. Station officer Marlowe watches, horrified. He's read the files. He knows Rakthians don't negotiate. Humans should be surrendering right now. Instead, Maya steps forward. And that's when the Rakthians realize something is very, very wrong. Because humans don't back down. Not when they're tired. Not when they're injured. Not when they're outnumbered 8-1. Not ever. "You will move," growls the Rakthian commander, towering over her. "Make me." He shoves her, and everything that happens next becomes station legend. The Rakthian commander, 8 feet tall, plated in dark alloy armor, all teeth and arrogance, expects Maya to stumble, fall, maybe even stay down. That's how most species react when a Rakthian decides to assert dominance. But Maya isn't most species. She isn't even most humans. She hits the deck, braced by instinct, breath leaving her in a sharp grunt. For a split second, the whole station seems to hold its breath. Even the hum of the ventilation system feels like it pauses. The Rakthian commander spreads his arms wide in a display of victory. To him, the fight is already won. And then Maya stands up. Not slowly, not shakily. She rises like gravity is something optional. Her crew doesn't look worried. Hank cracks his knuckles. Marcus adjusts his stance. Juno lifts an eyebrow like she's watching a toddler misbehave in a grocery store. The station guards? They look like they're witnessing a disaster in slow motion. Maya steps forward, dusting off her sleeve as casually as brushing lint from a uniform. She looks up at the massive Rakthian, and she smiles, just a small, sharp thing. A predator's smile. Before he can react, Maya grabs his wrist. Not both hands, not a braced stance, just one hand locking onto him like she's grabbing a handle. The commander snarls, confused. "What are you?" Maya pivots. Her hips twist. Her boots screech against the deck, and she lifts. The deck groans. The air rushes. The Rakthian's eyes go wide as his entire body leaves the floor. All 200 kilograms of armored alien predator go airborne like a sack of loose feathers. He sails through the air, arms flailing, mandibles clicking in shock, and crashes into his own soldiers. Armor clatters. Bodies topple. The formation breaks like dry twigs underfoot. The room explodes into silence. One human, one throw, one catastrophic miscalculation. The commander groans from the pile, dazed and humiliated. His troops stare at Maya like she just violated a law of physics, which, arguably, she did. Marlowe, the station officer, mutters the only words his brain can form. "That's not possible." Maya shrugs, rolling her shoulder like the throw warmed her up. Should have asked nicely. And just like that, the entire station learns the truth the galaxy keeps forgetting. When you shove a human, they shove back harder, much harder. The moment the Rakthian commander hits the deck in a heap of his own troops, the rest of the raiders freeze. Not out of fear, but out of disbelief. Their leader isn't just strong, he's legendary among their kind. A veteran of 17 campaigns, a breaker of armored doors, a hunter-class predator, and a human cargo captain just yeeted him like loose luggage. For a heartbeat, nobody moves. Then one Rakthian, a younger warrior with bright blue plating, roars and charges Maya, swinging his shock blade in a wide arc. Sparks hiss as the blade ignites. Hank steps forward. "Mine!" He catches the incoming warrior mid-charge, wraps a massive arm around his waist, and lifts him off the ground like he weighs nothing. The Rakthian thrashes, shock blade flickering dangerously close to Hank's face. Hank headbutts him. Armor cracks. The warrior goes limp. Hank drops him unceremoniously and looks around. Next, 2 more Rakthians rush in. This time Marcus moves. He glides, not runs, glides like water flowing downhill, each step precise and silent. The first raider swings. Marcus slips under the blade, taps a nerve cluster beneath the armor's joint seal, and the alien collapses, paralyzed. The second raider snarls and charges. Marcus pivots, his heels snapping upward in a perfect arc, striking the alien under the jaw. The Rakthian drops like a felled tree. Marlowe, the station officer, watches all of this unfold from behind a supply crate. His jaw hangs open. This is not standard human behavior. Not according to the briefings, the records, the cross-species combat guidelines. But the humans aren't done. A squad of raiders tries flanking them from the left, but Juno is already there, her compact rail pistol humming with each shot. She doesn't miss. Ever. With every trigger pull, a precise bolt of compressed metal takes down a raider. targeting armor seams and exposed underplates. Cargo crew, Marlo whispers. They said they were just a cargo crew. Maya, meanwhile, moves like she's personally offended by the existence of every raider in the room. Another warrior lunges. She sidesteps, grabs his chest plate, and spins, using his own momentum to sling him across the deck. He slams into a bulkhead and sticks there, denting the metal with the impact. The humans regroup in the center of the deck, forming a loose defensive circle. 40 raiders remain. Their weapons hum. Their armor gleams. Their eyes burn with a mixture of fear and outrage. Maya cracks her neck. "You boys picked the wrong dock," she says. "And the wrong humans." The Rakthian line wavers. Because in that moment, every alien in the room understands one simple, terrifying truth. Humans aren't dangerous because they're strong. Humans are dangerous because they refuse to lose. The standoff lasts all of 3 seconds. Then the raiders surge forward in a coordinated wall of muscle, armor, and razor-edged weaponry. Rakthians don't retreat, they overwhelm. They crush. They erase resistance beneath sheer force. But they've never met this crew of humans. Hank is the first to collide with the incoming wave. A massive Rakthian with red-plated armor slams into him, expecting to bulldoze the human aside. Instead, Hank barely moves. The alien's eyes widen, right before Hank grabs him by the torso and slams him flat onto the deck. The impact echoes like a thunderclap. Another raider leaps at him from behind, claws extended. Hank simply reaches back, catches the attacker midair, and swings him like a club into 3 more raiders charging up the ramp. Metal shrieks. Aliens scatter. Meanwhile, Marcus weaves through chaos like he's dancing. A Rakthian swings a shock axe toward his throat. Marcus ducks, steps inside the alien's guard, and strikes its throat seal with 2 fingers. The raider collapses, gagging for air. Another tries to pin Marcus from the side, but he twists, plants a foot on the wall, and uses it to launch himself upward. His elbow comes down on the raider's collar with surgical precision. Something snaps. Marcus exhales softly. Next, on the far end of the deck, Juno becomes a storm. She drops to one knee, rail pistol steady. Each shot is a perfect surgical strike. Not one bolt misses its mark. Not one raider remains standing after 2 seconds of her line of fire. A Rakthian commando tries to flank her from above, dropping down from a deck beam. Juno doesn't even look. She fires once over her shoulder. The raider hits the floor before he even realizes he's been shot. Maya is on a different level. She meets the center wave of raiders head on, grabbing one by the arm and flipping him over her shoulder so hard the deck plates buckle. Another tries to bite her. She drives her knee into his jaw, sending teeth flying. And then, another massive raider, the biggest yet, charges her with a warhammer crackling with blue plasma. He swings. Maya steps into the blow, grabs the haft of the hammer with both hands, and stops it. The plasma head hums inches from her skull. The raider stares at her in disbelief. Maya growls, "My turn." She wrenches the hammer out of his grip and blasts him across the deck with the flat end. The alien sails over the railing and crashes onto a lower platform with a heavy metallic boom. Marlo watches, dazed. His pulse spikes. His HUD is flashing red warnings about unauthorized combat operations. But he can't tear his eyes away from the humans. These weren't dock workers. These weren't simple civilians. These were apex predators hiding in plain sight. And the craziest part? They're smiling. Because for humans, this isn't just survival. This is Tuesday. The raiders finally realize something is wrong. Their numerical advantage is collapsing. Their formation is broken. Their morale is leaking out of them in waves. Rakthians are used to being predators, towering warriors who dominate every battlefield they enter. But on Platform 64's observation deck, they become prey. One of the raiders, his chest armor dented from Hank's earlier throw, lets out a desperate roar and rallies 6 others. Together, they charge Maya from all sides, weapons raised, claws flashing. Marlo winces. No one survives that. But Maya doesn't step back. She doesn't dodge. She steps forward. She grabs the first raider by the collar, yanks him into his own squad mates, sending all three tumbling, and rolls beneath a plasma blade that carves a glowing arc over her head. She pops back up with terrifying speed. A second raider thrusts a spear toward her chest. She twists, catches the shaft, and snaps it in half like a twig. Before he recovers, she slams the broken haft into his chest, right through a weakened armor seam. The raider goes down. A third swings an electric chain at her. Maya leaps onto a cargo crate, then kicks off it, flipping over the alien entirely. She lands behind him, grabs him by the harness, and whips his 200-kilo body into the deck so hard the lights flicker. Marlowe can't even blink. That's not possible. Yes, it is, Juno calls out as she reloads, voice steady. She's warmed up now. Hank laughs, a deep, booming sound, as he charges through another cluster of raiders. He scoops two of them under his arms, one in each hand, and slams their skulls together with a crack that echoes across the deck. Marcus wipes blood from his lip, not his own, and sighs. 40 against 5, he murmurs. He sidesteps a blade, kicks out a knee, and drives his palm into a raider's temple. Sounds fair. More raiders flood in from the side corridors, responding to distress signals. Maya glances over her shoulder. Crew, she calls. Form the funnel. The humans move instantly. Hank lifts a massive storage crate and slams it down, creating a choke point. Marcus and Juno cover the flanks. Maya positions herself at the front, alone, directly in the narrow gap the raiders must pass through. Marlowe's HUD identifies the incoming forces. Unit strength, 27 additional combatants. Designation, Rakthian Heavy Breach Team. Threat level, extreme. He swallows. You can't possibly hold that line. That's a heavy team. They specialize in... Marlowe, Maya says, cracking her knuckles. We specialize in not dying. The raiders let out a unified war cry. Steel grinds. Plasma hums. The deck shakes under their charge. Maya plants her boots. Shoulders squared. Jaw set. Smiling. She whispers, "Come on then, try me." And the second wave crashes into her like a living avalanche. The humans don't budge. The first Rakthian of the Heavy Breach Team barrels into Maya like a meteor in armor. Dense, reinforced, and easily half a ton of muscle and plating. He bounces off her. Actually bounces. He stumbles backward, stunned, giving Maya enough space to bury her fist in his diaphragm with a sound like a collapsing bulkhead. He folds. She shoves him aside before the next one arrives. Two more raid warriors push into the funnel. Their plasma axes swing in tight arcs, heat distortion rippling through the air. Maya weaves between them, not wasting a motion, not giving an inch. One axe swings just inches from her face. She ducks. The second comes straight for her ribs. She catches it, barehanded. The plasma edge hisses against her palm and skates off harmlessly as she twists the weapon off its owner and cracks the haft against his snout. Most species don't understand this trick. Human calluses are insane. Human pain tolerance is worse. Human stubbornness is catastrophic. Behind her, Hank braces the crate wall with his shoulder, preventing the raiders from flanking. The impact forces him down to one knee, but he grins through the strain. Little help, Marcus? Marcus is already moving, slipping between legs, striking vital joints, pulling aliens off balance. Working on it. A raider swings low. Marcus flips backward, plants his hands on the deck, and drives both heels into the alien's helmet, sending him rolling under another's feet. Juno fires down the corridor with impossibly steady aim. Each shot disables a weapon, drops a shield, or sends a raider tripping into another. She never shoots to kill unless she has to. That discipline alone terrifies Marlowe more than the violence around him. And still, Maya holds the front. A Rakthian champion, twice the size of the others, forces his way through the funnel. His armor plates are decorated with scorch marks and clan sigils. He roars, lifting a war hammer glowing with overloaded plasma coils, strong enough to vaporize steel. Marlowe panics. "Captain, that weapon is..." "I know," Maya says. The hammer swings in a brutal horizontal arc. Maya steps inside it. She plants her foot, grabs the champion's wrist, and redirects all that unstoppable momentum downward. The hammer punches a crater into the deck, sending shockwaves across the platform. Before he recovers, she wraps her arm around his neck, pivots, and throws him, not just off balance, not just to the ground. She launches him straight over the heads of his own troops like a sack of scrap metal. He slams into the far wall, armor shattered, sliding into unconsciousness. The raiders freeze. They've seen humans fight before. They've heard rumors. But this is mythology happening in real time. Maya cracks her neck and steps forward, eyes burning with a fierce calm. Next, and unbelievably, impossibly, the heavy breached team hesitates. The unthinkable is happening. The predators are considering retreat. The hesitation lasts less than a heartbeat, but it's enough. Humans never waste an opening. Maya lunges first, slamming into the closest Rakthian with her shoulder. The alien staggers backward into two others, knocking the formation apart. Hank seizes the moment and vaults the crate wall entirely, landing on top of a heavy trooper with a crash that dents the floor. Marcus is already inside the gap, striking pressure points so fast even Marlowe's HUD can't track the impacts. 3 armored raiders collapse like puppets with cut strings. Juno's shots pin down the remaining flank, each bolt fired with unerring precision, forcing the last organized squad farther and farther back toward the airlock. They came in confident. They're leaving in panic. The Rakthian second-in-command roars, pushing through his terrified troops. He brandishes a plasma halberd, sparks cascading from its overheated core. He points it at Maya. "You are outnumbered, human." Maya wipes blood from her lip. "I've noticed. You faced the best warriors of Clan Varder." She gestures at the unconscious bodies scattered across the deck. "I can tell. He charges. He's faster than the others, stronger too." His halberd slicing arcs of pure blue energy through the air. But Maya doesn't back away. She steps toward him, inside his reach, and the halberd schemes past her ear. She grabs his throat. He's 2 heads taller, but it doesn't matter. Her other hand clamps on his armor's chest plate. She pivots, and the massive warrior is airborne. He smashes into the deck so hard the lighting strips flicker. The remaining raiders freeze mid-motion. Then one drops his weapon. Another takes a step back. A third mutters, "Deathworlders, they're all Deathworlders." And just like that, the dam breaks. The raiders flee, armor scraping, weapons clattering, boots pounding as they shove each other out of the way to get back to their ship. The airlock cycles, sealing them inside. Their engines ignite a moment later, and the raider dropship tears away from the station so fast it almost clips a docking ring on the way out. Silence falls. Smoke drifts from ruptured panels. Deck plates groan under the weight of the wrecked corridor. Marlowe stares at the humans, mouth hanging open. You fought 40 armed raiders," he says, voice cracking. "With 5 people." Maya shrugs. "They picked the fight." That was... Marlowe searches for a word that fits. "None do." "Unbelievable." Hank dusts off his vest. Tuesday. Marcus straightens his sleeves. They were sloppy. Juno holsters her pistol. Could have been worse. Maya looks around at the devastation. Bodies, broken weapons, torn plating, and size. "All right," she says. "Someone call station management." "Why?" Marlowe asks. She gestures at the ruined observation deck. "Because apparently we're paying for damages." Marlowe just stares. A crew of humans, outnumbered 8-1, has just beaten one of the deadliest raider clans in the quadrant barehanded. And the only thing the captain is worried about is the repair bill. For the first time in his career, Marlowe begins to understand the whispered galactic proverb, "Never corner a human." The universe hasn't found what happens after that.